That's an incredible accomplishment for that conference. I mean, to send that many teams, that's just how competitive the league is week in and week out.
And we're off.
When do I stop it?
On the whistle.
Every whistle?
First face-off won at the beginning by St. John's. UC Davis, though, getting the
early flag. Now look for these pulls. This stick, play a little offense.
Liam Condon, number 10. Condon still on offense. 2 pulls on offense. Is that because they're skilled, coach, or are they trying to trap guys?
It's both. These are their most talented players, so they use them all over the field, and it also creates some matchup advantages, keeping maybe perhaps the other team's face-off specialists on the field, some of their offensive midfielders. The stats that Piombo, number 2 for Davis, has put up this year are ridiculous. I think he had over 180 ground balls, and he's just an elite player. He's Defensive Player of the Year in the conference.
And there it is. Big shot there by Piombo, and we'll have our first man up for the Aggies of UC Davis, champions of the WCLL, their first time here at the national tournament. They were a longtime Division I team and reclassified down to Division II, and they're having some great success here.
And they're leaving Condon on the field.
Wow.
Extra man with the pole. Love it.
3-3 man up for the Aggies. A little bit of motion on the far side. Interesting that he keeps it in his right hand on the left side. Look through pass is thrown away, and St. John's will clear man down.
And the nice part about keeping your pole on man up is that if you do turn it over, you're instantly into a ride. And we'll see if Davis can get anything out of their ride game.
I want to thank our title sponsor, MCLA Tournament, powered by Under Armour. Huge day of lacrosse. We have 4 games going on consecutively right now.
And there it is. Turnover off the ride, and Davis is off to the races.
One more for Condon. Shot wide of the cage. They back it up. Inside look, shot. Rebound on the crease. Fordham Lee gets the ground ball.
What's the time on the penalty?
No one will make you penalties.
What's the time on the penalty? Are we released?
8 seconds.
How long was the penalty?
It's a 1 minute, not necessary, coach.
Shot from St. John's, backed up by the goalie for UC Davis. Arthur Antonio doing a great job of backing up that shot, and they look to clear.
Are we released?
Yes, release.
Live ball at the midfield, out of bounds off of St. John's. Isaac Sparks will look to clear. Coach, obviously this is a heavy California roster, California lacrosse. You know, you have a lot of experience as you played college lacrosse in California. But it's awesome to see California versus Minnesota here. But I think these California guys are showing that they're not really to be pushed around here.
Yeah, it's a small world. I actually know Isaac Sparks' dad, Ben, very well. But yeah, it's some good early action here. I think Davis being a first-time participant is definitely showing that they're ready for it. And I think both teams are just trying to settle in and get some of those early tournament jitters out.
Well, I'm going to tell Coach, too. It's a little hard to see the clock.
St. John's on the clear. They get it into the attacking zone. Still a 0-0 game. Nice fast-paced game here. Having a bit of a statue here, 7 and 20, shutting off.
Right.
So they're shutting off Boone Almquist for St. John's here on the crease. And we got a little move here. Great little check. Great save.
Big save.
Antonio with the save on the doorstep there.
Yeah, Kraus did a nice job setting up his right hand. Went hard to his left, got a good change of direction, got his hands free, but Arthur turned him away.
Keep running back.
UC Davis has another opportunity to play some offense, and they're subbing Condon on the field. So not only
Subbing onto the offensive end.
he's not out there just to trap some offensive midfielders on defense. He's actually part of the offensive scheme, no matter what the situation is.
I heard from some folks that they actually run some pretty cool mumbo stuff with their poles to set up some time and room shots. So let's see if they maybe jump into that this possession.
Yeah, their head coach and offensive legend, Frank Risteris from the University of Albany, unfortunately not with the team today, had a suspension from the conference tournament. But his fingerprints are still all over the team here as the ball is still alive. St. John's having a tough time clearing. Condon almost comes up with a ground ball, and here comes St. John's.
Davis is pretty committed to the shutoff, whether it's on Kraus, St. John's first teamer, or on Almquist, number 20. It looks like Davis is going to commit to keeping those guys, making them work to get the ball, similar to how Brown tried to do it to Teat the other day.
St. John's with the first goal of the game. Number 8, Carter Scrimshaw, junior midfielder from Rochester, Minnesota, breaks the seal here to give the Johnnies a 1-0 lead. Yeah, Coach, let's talk about that. I watched that Brown-Cornell game, and it didn't seem like Cornell really wanted to force Teat the ball or, mix things up to get him the ball. What's your plan if your guy gets shut off? Is it?
Well, it's interesting. There's a number of different things you can do, right? And one, we just saw it work right there. It just elongates the slides. If you put the person being shut off as the hot man, well, he's not going. So the next guy is a little further and maybe a little late on his slide. So, you can obviously do that. You can let him get the ball off the end line on any missed shots or fake shots if that's something that you're into. But interestingly enough, Yale did not choose to employ the strategy in the Ivy League Championship.
And they didn't win the game.
And Cornell went off.
Piamba with a clean face-off look. I don't know if that was a failure to advance or an offsides there, but it'll go back to St. John's, and they're instantly attacking the cage. Ooh.
I'm definitely interested to see how the St. John's players handle this heat. This is definitely a lot warmer than the climate they've been playing in up in Minnesota for the last few months.
And some elevation as well. Slide comes. Great back check on the double team. Still on the carpet. Ground ball. Really impressed with the activity of this Davis team. They motor.
Yeah, the pressure in early possessions and just kind of speeding up St. John's, creating some maybe ill-advised shots has been successful for Davis so far.
Once again, you're watching the first round of the MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour. St. John's in white, UC Davis in blue. Big interception here from Antonio. I think he wants to do a little pick six, but he gives it up.
This is a frenetic pace, both sides. I think this is more plays to the advantage of Davis with their long stick midfielders being able to roam between the lines than it does St. John's.
Well, there's got to be an aspect of nerves here. It's the
no question.
You're traveling from far away. It's the national tournament. All eyes are on your team, and it might take us a half a quarter here to kind of shake off the nerves. Alec Larson down the alley. Antonio with a great shoulder save.
He's played very well thus far.
Lefty goalies.
Yeah.
They always seem to have a little bit more pizzazz, if you will. Tommy Kraus down the alley loses it. And here comes Davis in transition. And turned right back over to St. John's.
At this point, you gotta get a little composure here and try to get a possession. It seems like this thing is just going up and back, and it's track meet. I'm not sure if that favors either team this early in the tournament.
Let's see how it affects the later quarters in this game when these guys are burning a lot of gas here in the first quarter.
No question.
Max Hudak with the ball, 6'3", 225. Big midfielder. Kraus operates behind. Gets it over to Mullen. Mullen up top to Hudak. Hudak down the left alley. Rolls back.
Nice.
Shot goal. Boone Almquist, unassisted goal down the alley. Condon had a stick on him, but it didn't really affect his shot.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to see. I think the way that Davis plays defense, you're going to see unassisted goals from St. John's. They're not looking to slide. They're looking to dominate one-on-one matchups, and that time Boone Almquist was able to get a step, get his hands free, and let it rip.
2-0. St. John's up over UC Davis. 6:12 left in the first quarter. Face-off won by St. John's. And it's make it, take it Lacrosse.
There's Piambo, middle of the field, wreaking havoc. That's what he's done all year, and he continues to do it here at the tournament.
Caused turnover Piambo. Ball's still alive, though. Big ground ball from Trapicchio. And Kraus helps to corral the ball for a possession. I'll be honest, I think my favorite part of this tournament is just the diverse, geographic location of some of these teams. I remember about 4 or 5 years ago, I saw a team from Long Island play a team from North Dakota. Never thought I would ever see a game like that before in college lacrosse, and that just shows the obviously the growth of the game and the reach of the MCLA.
And it's changed, too, over the years. Those teams, the Montanas of the world, were pretty much dominated by East Coast transplants.
Sure.
And now
More
the
local
teams
flavor.
they're filled with people from their area, which is really, really good to see in terms of the growth of the game.
Big save from Antonio. UC Davis back on offense. Now we see Connor Hart also on a little bit of offense here. Now, UC Davis doesn't have the biggest bench in the world, so I wonder if this utilization of their long sticks has a little bit to do with their depth and the fact that those guys are skilled lacrosse players. Backdrop of the mountains there. Beautiful setting here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Big check, great hockey. Another piece of hockey, but right back to UC Davis. That's a dangerous one.
Absolutely.
Don't send the puck back into your crease.
Never on your defensive end of the field.
Great lift. Over and back call.
Almquist has the short. He's going to pick it up. Watch for a little early attack here. I'd go right at him. Tons of space.
Our last goal scorer, Almquist, with the restart. Great piece of lacrosse IQ lifting that stick. Defensemen need to put a little bit of tighter grip on their stick so they can't get lifted.
We're seeing the shut-off on Almquist again in the middle of the field. There's a two-man game. Miscommunication on the pick. Got his hands free.
Great save by Antonio. He's keeping him in this game.
Another big one. Going into a little action here with Almquist.
Connor Mullen tries to swim through two, rolls inside. Shot, goal, bottom corner. Connor Mullen, sophomore attackman from Champlin, Minnesota, gives the Johnnies a 3-0 lead with 3:15 remaining.
We have to see the scoreboard, Coach.
Yeah, I think that
The guys have to be behind the line.
if I'm the Johnnies, I'm going right back to the two-man game.
Sure.
It looked like there's some confusion there defensively for the Aggies.
For St. John's.
Always a challenge at a new location when you have your scoreboard set up and your teams getting excited. Face-off scrap at the midfield. Piombo with the ground ball.
Kid has a knack for loose balls. He really does. He comes up with a lot.
UC Davis, obviously known as a really good academic school. Agricultural college, obviously they're the Ags. So you can see a little of that intelligence coming out in the lacrosse game today.
It's a cool town. I don't know if you've ever spent any time in Davis, California, but it's actually a nice, really neat little town. Great backdoor cut. What a save. Nelson, big-time save on the doorstep. Got a little OB play coming here from the Aggies. Little mumbos. Hands free.
Big shot in the goal. The first one for UC Davis. Nicholas Lombardo, freshman midfielder, with the assist from Joel French, I believe.
Yeah, they ran a little 1-4 mumbos from X off the inbounds there and was able to get his hands free.
So the UC Davis Ags get off the schneid here, get their first goal of the tournament, break the seal. 3-1 St. Thomas, 2:30 left in the first quarter.
Starts with that face-off win and that ground ball by Piombo. I mean, with the weather like this and the kind of frenetic pace of the game, face-offs are going to become a huge, huge factor in terms of time of possession. Guys wearing out.
We're almost at capacity here in the stands there at the first game here in the morning.
And surprise, surprise. Ground ball Piombo.
There he is. Lombardo operates from X, takes it up to the wing. Good stick protection. Short stick dodge here on the wing for Costa. He finds X. Look through for the defenseman. I smell a shot coming here.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Wind that up. There's also an aspect of, you know, a goalie, it's hard to see the shots coming out of those long poles if they have a big overhand shot. Release point is different than a short stick. A little bit extra torque on that long stick.
Looks like they're going to set up a similar play. Try to overload one side and get their long stick a time and room shot. Here comes number 10 over the top.
Ooh. Big push in the back there, double flags. Nice aggressive punch, but just right in the wrong spot.
Comstock, big kid, you know, 6'3", 200. I think he just, he's tall, so he played him up a little high. Drew the flag.
Second man up for UC Davis, down 3-1. Just over a minute left here in the first quarter. 30-second penalty on Comstock.
Got a different man-up formation here. Condon's in the righty shooter spot as opposed to the lower left of the 3-3. We're still getting that 3-3 wheel over here.
Let's see that look-through pass. Here comes a little wheel action.
I can count it.
This is a great little motion.
Credit to St. John's doing a nice job covering it up.
Oh, boy.
Patient.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Penalties up.
Penalties released. UC Davis retains possession. Inside look. Shot on the top side. Big save.
Big save by Nelson.
One more shot, goal.
Great
more
transition
pass.
lacrosse right there.
Joey Gaudreau, sophomore attackman, gives St. John's their fourth goal of the game.
Great spacing, great stick work, and Gaudreau did a nice job keeping his feet moving through the middle, faked the goal and finished. starts with a stop, right? Great
Yep.
man down stop down here by the Johnny's defense. Big save by Nelson.
A goalie can be the last line of defense and then the first line of attack.
No doubt about it.
Face-off win for UC Davis. This smart play there.
Yeah.
I was a little unaware of the clock there myself. Thought, what a terrible shot, but as the horn goes off, we finished the first quarter. St. John's from Minnesota 4, UC Davis from Northern California 1.
Brandon Choi isn't on our team anymore. I'm number 9. Thank you.
Founded in 2009, Lacrosse Talk Radio has the most live and up-to-date coverage of the fastest sport on 2 feet. Whether you're listening to one of our over 200 live youth, high school, collegiate, or professional game broadcasts, or our regional specialty shows, Lacrosse Talk Radio gives you access and insight to your favorite teams and players. Visit us at lacrossetalkradio.com for our broadcast schedules in the Rocky Mountain, Tri-State, and Mid-Atlantic regions. Lacrosse Talk Radio, the official voice of the MCLA.
Life is about moments. If you fight, I fight. If I fight, we fight.
You be there and watch what I do when the bell rings.
Do you have that real look in your eye that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can ask yourself this question: did I give everything I got? Did I lay it all on the line? Or am I cheating myself?
What you say, Quaid?
All right. See ya.
Right at it. Oh! He's done it again!
So whatever you're gonna do, claim it. Leave your mark on this world.
We're back. First quarter score, 4-1. St. John's over UC Davis. First round of the MCLA National Tournament, powered by Under Armour, here from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. And we're getting ready for second quarter action. So we got clarifications behind us. We have the beautiful Wasatch Mountains, but they are part of the Rockies as well. So little geography lesson while we're out here.
I've learned quite a bit already today from you, Coach Brand.
Well, supposedly, and this is the stat we got to triple check, Utah has the highest amount of college graduates of any state in the country. And the reason the Salt Lake is salty is because it was once part of the ocean.
Was that in like the 50s or?
Yeah, like year 50.
Yeah, I gotcha. This is a matchup I'm interested in watching here. Piombo against Almquist. That's two heavy hitters, and I like the matchup. And we won't have to see Almquist get shut off, which is exciting.
Face-off win for St. John's.
Davis going to continue to shut off Kraus, which I don't think is a terrible decision.
Big sweep dodge, underhand shot wide of the cage. Ambitious look for Almquist, but they retain possession.
Oh.
Scrimshaw with the ground ball. Down to Gaudreau. Little action at X there. Player falls down, which gives number 27, Connor Mullen, the opportunity to get in front. Great placement on a shot. Little lefty over the shoulder. And that gives them a 5-1 lead.
Yeah, we saw a similar play in the first quarter, and they went right back to that two-man game at X, and there's some miscommunication back there defensively, whether they're switching or staying, and he was able to get a step and bury.
St. John's on a bit of a roll here, up 5-1 in the second quarter, 13:42 remaining in our first round matchup.
Yeah, I would expect and anticipate the Johnnies to continue to go back to that two-man game. Not a lot of help defense coming from the Aggies. If you get a step off the pick, you're going to be able to go right to the rack.
It also seems like number 11, Hayden Libby's doing a great job. Oop.
Piambo.
Turnover. Wide open cage, and he misses it.
Just for the record, that is not Choi. That's Nicholas Lombardo. Wearing number 9. That was a big missed opportunity there for the Aggies. It was a wide open net, and unfortunately missed the cage.
Turnover though for St. John's. Little coaching question here for you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
How often do you, and be honest, how often do you focus on riding and clearing?
That's a great question. For the most part, our ride game is substitution oriented. How do we buy time to get our offensive personnel off and defensive personnel on without giving up transition? In terms of an orchestrated ride to create turnovers, it's just very difficult. There's just so much room, and these guys are so athletic and have great skill. It's difficult to manufacture turnovers off the ride.
And it seems at a certain point, at that level, you get these teams that have these great stick skills. So you're almost smarter to not ride.
In a sense, you create offense. Because you're essentially sliding upfield, or even if you don't create offense, good take there, inside roll, nice stop by Nelson.
So as St. John's clears, the ball's still on the ground. Piambo tries to get a piece. These Minnesota guys know how to play hockey with the lacrosse ball, don't they?
Yeah, they've seemed to settle down quite a bit. They seem way more comfortable in between the lines and doing a nice job now.
Four games on the slate today for Dylan and I. It's always a marathon day, but always fun. Great to see lacrosse teams from all over the country competing for that national championship. And I think a big part of this puzzle that people sometimes overlook is how much independent work these kids have to do to get themselves here.
Nice save by Arthur.
Stick side high save for Antonio, and he quick outlet pass. Oop. Toes the line. Turnover for UC Davis. Quick restart. That was not 5 yards. Hence the flag coming out.
That's a really heady play. That's a very smart play by Carter Scrimshaw. Initiating contact right off the whistle, drawing that delay of game foul.
Got to get 5.
Yes, it's a free possession.
Flag down on the field here. Antonio with the save, and we'll see a St. John's man up.
Despite the score, I got to say that Davis's studs have really shown up and done a nice job. Their goalie in the cage has been excellent, and then Piambo has been really, really good between the lines. So, hopefully those guys continue to scrap and can fight their way back into the game. But the Johnnies have kind of sniffed out what they need to do. They're finding that shutoff matchup and initiating, and then they also do the two-man behind the cage.
Sure. Can't lie, I also have a connection to UC Davis, a young man who played for me at Texas State as a graduate student. Curtis Valenz is a longtime UC Davis player. He's watching the webcast right now in Texas.
Nice.
Shot and goal on man up. Goudreau with the backside tennis racket. Didn't have to do much with it. Just kind of put it right in the back of the net, and we have a 6-1 lead for St. John's.
Yeah, great passing, great ball movement. Got Davis on the carousel, so to speak, rotating, and the ball just moved faster than the person.
10:39 left in the second quarter. Johnny 6, Ags 1. 2018 MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour. Let's see if UC Davis can. They've been doing a good job of winning the draw. It's the ground ball after the draw that has been a bit of a struggle. Once again, they kind of live at an advantage with the draw. Ball's alive, but now you got to get a ground ball. A lot of raking. And St. John's comes away with another. Comes away with another possession.
6-1.
The possessions are starting to mount up. You know, ultimately that's how runs get going and keep going, and obviously the face-off wins are huge, but this has now been a pretty extended period of time with Davis on defense, and it's allowing the Johnnies to get more and more comfortable and find the holes in that defense.
Deflected shot out of bounds, backed up by St. John's. Great netting setup here at the Regional Athletic Complex here in Salt Lake.
It really is a nice venue, natural grass on every field. I was talking to Coach Hartley from Chapman University, and he told me they haven't played on grass once this season.
Wow.
So this is their today will be their first time on grass.
Break out the studs.
Great look.
Shot goal. 47 gives St. John's a 7-1 lead. Elliot Olson, and we'll have our first timeout of the game.
Yeah, you know, Connor Mullen does a really nice job of attacking the cage from behind and keeping his head up.
Number 4-7 for St. John's goal.
Hey, no, pal. See how it goes from here. Don't hang up, bud. How are you? Good. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Of course.
Field 4 just got a request for more water.
No more geography? That's important, right?
Named after the basketball player.
Then also played for you, Douglas.
Four remaining in the second quarter. First round game of the Division II MCLA National Tournament. Powered by Under Armour. I think I get $1 every time I say it, I hope. Or a
Pat on the back.
piece of apparel.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, what we're seeing right now is I think Davis is accustomed to being able to dominate their individual matchups and not have to slide. And with St. John's having some early success, Davis is trying to help out defensively now, and that's not really what they've done all year. It's not their bread and butter. And the Johnnies are going to start to pick them apart a little bit.
As we have a break here, we have a chance to give some recognition to our officials. Dennis Wanser is your referee, Nick Adamski is the umpire, and Ian Bede is your field judge. Always nice when these guys are their whole season culminates on them getting an opportunity to come out here. They're judged on their body of work throughout the year, and they earn the right to officiate this MCLA tournament.
I had Nick a couple times this year, actually.
Out of Dayton, Ohio, I believe?
Yeah, he
Or
did a couple of our
He's out
games.
of Toledo.
Toledo, that's right.
Another draw won by UC Davis, but
Piambo,
there he is. Ground ball machine.
I mean, he's got to be working on double digits here in the first half.
Right.
A little bit of a 34 clear. See how the Johnnies try to foosball it back and forth, try to ride.
Step a guy over, step a guy back, step a guy over, step a guy back.
Yeah. Nice
I
job.
feel like that's the de facto clear of a lot of lacrosse teams.
Oh, yeah, of course, right? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It works. As long as, your defensemen stay aggressive, which, Hart did and did a nice job of, but we weren't able to get a touch. Oh, there we go. Possession Davis. They need to have some productivity here in this possession. Don't necessarily need a goal, but you need a quality possession and a good look at the cage. Goal would be nice.
Yeah, back to that clear, I think what a lot of teams, they defend it wrong when they have just attackmen who are afraid to go over the midfield line. So if you can get that defenseman over the midfield line, You see a lot of defensemen who are stuck at the midfield. They don't match feet, and it just makes the clear so much easier.
Right. Goes back to our early conversation about just personnel specific in terms of the ride. Nice shot.
Great shot from Nicholas Costa right over the shoulder. Great placement. Don't got to shoot hard. You just got to shoot it.
That was outstanding. Great stroke, righty overhand, just buried it offside hip. Nothing Nelson could do. That was huge. That's maybe what Davis needed to stop the run from the Johnnies. They can get another face-off win here and start to get some momentum. We can see a little bit of a run.
One of the best parts of lacrosse is a 5-goal lead is not a huge lead.
No, absolutely not. Unless you're in the game, and then you feel like sometimes it's insurmountable, but it's really not.
I heard the old nothing worse than a 2-goal lead a couple years ago, and that's been stuck in my head since then. And every game this year we've played, a couple of them were just 2-goal, 1-goal leads back and forth, and you just never get comfortable in a 2-goal lead. It seems almost uncomfortable. Also in this clear, it's all about being active, right? You can't just be complacent.
No doubt. That was a nice job. Here we go. This is the opportunity to get another one here and get a 2-goal run going. Comstock has a big, rangy body, and I think he's, with this lead, it lets him be a little bit more aggressive on the ball, and it just created a turnover there.
Unable to corral the pass is UC Davis. Ball goes over the midfield line for an over in the back call, and St. John's gets another possession.
This Johnny's team is a young group. A lot of freshmen and sophomores making major contributions.
I'm still shocked that Johnny's and Tommy's haven't gone varsity yet, but I do think that it's also awesome that they've stayed in the MCLA.
Yeah, I mean they're able to get quality competition
in the backyard.
Yeah, and their student athlete experience is outstanding. I mean, I don't feel like there's pressure on them to make a change because the kids are having a great experience.
A lot of players would have taken that shot, but they do a good job of working the ball around. Scrimshaw overhand. Big save. Antonio ball's up in the air and alive. Mullen with the ground ball. 6 teams from the UMLC this year here at the tournament. Tommy's, Johnny's, North Dakota State,
Minnesota Duluth,
Grand Valley, and Dayton, who are new to the conference. Lot of at-large bids from that conference.
Hudak, big body, picks up a nice GB, maintains possession for the Johnnies. Oh, look inside, loose. Kraus, outside, mom goal. Finish.
Dad goal.
There you go. Goudreau
with the finish in front after the miscalculated pass. But they do a great job of re-attacking the cage at every opportunity.
He's a crafty off-ball guy. He understands how to find space and get his hands free, and he gets the ball in and out of his stick quickly.
So Goudreau in the goal, 8-2 St. John's, 5.5 remaining here in the second quarter. From Salt Lake City.
Field 6, speaker is good.
Great lacrosse scene out here in Utah. A lot of good high school teams. Obviously, the Utes are going varsity next year. BYU, a long-standing power here in the MCLA, and then you have new, Westminster as well out here. Utah Valley is a former MCLA champion. So lacrosse has been pretty strong here in Utah for a while.
You see a lot of kids from Utah now making contributions at the NCAA level as well. Rutgers has MCLA and Casey Rose, and those kids have done extremely well at Rutgers. You see the young man at Maryland. He's having a great year.
Bubba
Fairman.
Shot from St. John's, backed up. Easily able to get top side, just can't get the shot on cage. Look inside. Little give and go. Shot stings it.
What a great play.
Scrimshaw from Almquist. Great job just playing a little give and go lacrosse there, keeping the defense low, keeping them active, and great placement, a little bit of pipe on that shot. Oh, the best sound in lacrosse right there.
Yeah, I mean, the key to that whole play was how quickly he released the shot, right? He caught it in his windup, let it go. No chance for the defense to come back and help or you know, get back from sloughing off.
And with 4:21 remaining in the second quarter, UC Davis will take another timeout. 9-2 St. John's. St. John's doing a good job on offense to capitalize on their shots.
St. John's goes by number 8, Carter Scrimshaw.
So we're back here from Salt Lake City after the timeout from UC Davis. Question for you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
What is, I have a very strict timeout policy.
Okay.
I try never to call a timeout after the other team scores.
Okay.
Because I feel it gives the other team momentum. I only call timeouts when we're in trouble or when we have the ball and we need to get a little break and set up some offense. Do you have any plan? Or
I think some of it is on feel. You know, you're in the heat of the moment and you just have a feel as the head coach. I'm not opposed to calling them to try to prevent or stop a run. You know, it's just that's a great goal. And you know, they're really starting to hit on all cylinders here. You know, if I'm the Davis Aggies, I got to start to think about changing my defensive strategy here. Even though you're down by quite a bit, you know, even just a wrinkle, simple zone, or you know, just something different because St. John's is too comfortable offensively.
So Krause on the goal with the assist from Mullen, but here's my exactly what I didn't want to happen. You take a timeout,
sure,
and you think that the other team's going to get some momentum out of it, and then they score that quick goal, and you feel like that timeout actually was a detriment more than a...
Well, the only reason that you're going to do it is to change your strategy, right? Like you're going to make an adjustment of some sort. Or personnel, you know, you got to get the right personnel in. But here's a clean, fast break. Got him with the trail check.
Face-off win for David Aloa. He's been doing a good job on the draws. Hasn't had a lot of help with the ground balls. But here's UC Davis with an opportunity to get back on the board.
And the Johnnies are in an advantageous position now defensively. They can take a couple gambles and pressure out, or they could drop back and play zone with this big of a lead, and they're just they can dictate a lot of what's going on that end of the field.
Turnover, ground ball for St. John's.
I give a lot of credit to Comstock. He's really dominating his matchup and having a great day and creating a lot of issues for the Davis Aggies offense.
Great job of the attackman working to get to green space to finish off that clear. Here's Larson. I feel like there's a Larson on a Minnesota team every year. I think that's
I agree.
Scandinavian influence from the, at some point he was Lars's son, right? So at some point in his ancestry.
Probably back when the Salt Lake was the ocean.
Great clear from UC Davis, making it look easy. Ooh.
A little bit of a delayed substitution there by the Johnnies. Was able to catch him with a trail check. Now we're pushing transition.
Here's Rosinski. Shot. Great save, Antonio.
Antonio was dialed.
And he was almost screened there for a second.
Yeah.
Still was able to get his hands and his stick over to that little.
See if we get a little reverse transition here.
Top corner here.
Tough pass. What a nice handle.
Costa with the great handle in transition for UC Davis.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of fatigue as well. Flags down. Comstock puts the ball on the turf.
Man up here coming for St. John's. So, excuse me, UC Davis on the man up. I apologize. We're going to take a timeout for St. John's as UC Davis goes man up. Comstock with the penalty, and with just over a minute remaining, St. John's 10, UC Davis 2. See if we can get some scores from the other fields here.
That 3-3 wheel, and St. John's has pretty much identified it, and they have a great defensive strategy in place.
So score update from directly behind us. The North Dakota State Bison up 7-1 over Central Connecticut State of the PCLL at the half.
Central Connecticut's another first-time participant in the tournament, so we're seeing the Aggies and Central Connecticut State, struggle a little bit here early, but I think, experience plays such a big piece in what we're doing here, and North Dakota State and St. John's are veterans.
If you were to tell me years ago that a team from North Dakota would be up 7-1 on a team from Connecticut, I wouldn't believe you, but that's the awesome growth of our sport.
That's the MCLA in a nutshell right there. A little different look here from the Aggies, and almost got an open look on the doorstep.
Turnover here for UC Davis. Man down clear. Going to try to run a little punt return here from Trapicchio. And it's up, and it's back to UC Davis, who unable to corral it. Great communication from the Johnnies to send it so they don't get that failure to advance call, but it ends up right in the stick. Shot goal. Antonio was out of the cage there for the clear. Kraus was able to corral it and give St. John's their 11th goal of the game with 5 seconds remaining here in the second half.
5 seconds left in the half. Man down goal from the Johnnies. That was a dagger. That's difficult to deal with going into the halftime.
Speaking of that long stick coming off saying I can't go on because we only have 4 pulls, I've seen a few times this year where teams have had 5 pulls on the field, and it's not something you normally see. So the referees, it's not something they're looking for.
Yeah, it seems like that's been missed a few times, and then obviously the teams that 10-man ride on a regular basis, they'll generally go offsides more often,
almost. Yeah,
and it doesn't get caught. It's just so fast, too difficult to see.
So with that whistle, St. John's 11, UC Davis 2. We're going into halftime here of our first of 4 games here from Salt Lake City and the 2018 MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour. We're going to go to halftime here, and we'll be back for second half action from Salt Lake. Stick with us.
Actually, you know what? Let's put 10 minutes.
No, just what I'm on right now is that
My name is Pat Young. I started my college career at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and finished up at University of Maryland College Park. I currently play for the Ohio Machine. This is the Under Armour Banshee. It's the mid-level lacrosse cleat. What I like about it is it's got a low cleat feel, but with the protection of a mid to high cleat. I'm usually a guy who likes to protect my ankles, but I don't like to lose the mobility and feel like I'm wearing a heavy cleat. UA Banshee, untouchable, unstoppable.
I'm Eric Law. I went to the University of Denver and I played professional lacrosse for the Denver Outlaws. This is the UA Command 2.0. I really like the new design of the thinner scoop at the top to help with ground balls, and the same thing in the back with the flare to help with ground balls as well. The pocket, it forms just a nice, easy pocket right in the middle. I also love how light it is. We've been in the sun all day. It still doesn't get that soupy, bendy feeling. Also, what I really like the new addition of is the side rail pockets for the shooters, which doesn't go right in there, which I think is a brilliant design.
I'm Greg Gorenlian, known as Greg Beast. I played for the New York Lizards. I just retired from the MLL, and I face off for Team USA. An elite level face-off man looks for a couple different things. The first thing is the pinch points of the head, the flex points, how it wraps around the ball. The second thing you look for is the scoop. Is it rigid enough and can it help you get an extra couple ground balls? The third thing is you want durability. You don't want to have to go buy a new head every few games, so this head basically encompasses all three of those. The Face-Off Academy put Command X's heads and their prototypes through the grinder. They lasted throughout the entire grind. They flexed exactly how we wanted them to. So not only were they pliable, not only were they durable, but they were also used in a lot of different facets. So it came out with a pretty good rating. The UA Command X. Dive under, take over.
Founded in 2009, Lacrosse Talk Radio has the most live and up-to-date coverage of the fastest sport on 2 feet. Whether you're listening to one of our over 200 live youth, high school, collegiate, or professional game broadcasts, or our regional specialty shows, Lacrosse Talk Radio gives you access and insight to your favorite teams and players. Visit us at lacrossetalkradio.com for our broadcast schedules in the Rocky Mountain, Tri-State, and Mid-Atlantic regions. Lacrosse Talk Radio, the official voice of the MCLA.
Life is about moments. If you fight, I fight. If I fight, we fight.
You be there and watch what I do when the bell rings.
Do you have that real look in your eye that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can ask yourself this question: did I give everything I got? Did I lay it all on the line? Or am I cheating myself?
What you say, Quaid?
All right. See ya.
Right at it. Oh! He's done it again!
So whatever you're gonna do, claim it. Leave your mark on this world.
My name is Pat Young. I started my college career at University of Maryland, Baltimore County and finished up at University of Maryland College Park. I currently play for the Ohio Machine. The shaft is the Meso, and obviously when you look at it, it's got a really sleek look to it. Black on black is pretty smooth. Feel it, it's not too rigid, got a little bit of a grit to it. It's very durable, but it's pretty light. It's got a little bit of a flex to it, so it puts a little bit more on your shot. UA Meso Composite, balanced, battle tested.
Welcome back. It's halftime here at Salt Lake City between the Johnnies and the Davis Aggies. The count is 11-2, and the Johnnies have effectively settled in and playing pretty comfortably here.
About 1:30 left here in the halftime. From beautiful Salt Lake City, you see a shot of the Wasatch Mountains, part of the Rocky Mountain Range. National championships here from Salt Lake City, powered by Under Armour. St. John's, the perennial tournament attendee with an 11-2 lead over the first-timers, the Ags of UC Davis. Love when UC Davis used to have the cow print shorts because it's an agricultural school and there's a lot of
yeah, I remember actually playing up there, and there was livestock across the street from the fields that they use. Interested to see if teams deviate from their original game plan. Obviously, St. John's up by 9. Do you start to begin potentially subbing some guys, knowing that this is a lengthier, exhaustive tournament? Do you go to zone here and kind of slow things down? From Davis's standpoint, obviously the game plan to jump hasn't worked. So what kind of adjustments are you going to make?
I think I'd have to admit that a lot of that has to come with have you prepared for it in practice, right? Like you said, this might be an opportunity to play some zone, but how extensively have you worked on it in practice? And I think that's a lot of the.
Well, I mean, the other part of it is this might be a good opportunity to practice if you're St. John's. You got an 11-2 lead here, and there's maybe some things you want to sharpen up in order to be successful in later games. Maybe working on some zone here is a good option.
Yes. Thank you. You're doing a wonderful job.
It's crazy to transition as, myself, I was a college coach. Now I'm down to I'm coaching in high school. I want to say down to, but I'm transitioning over to high school and coach a few JV games. Going from a 15-minute quarter to a 10-minute quarter is quite a difference.
It's quick.
Piambo with the ground ball down to Antonio. Great job clearing through the goalie. Really impressed with Antonio. He's been hung out to dry a few times, but
that's kind of the nature of their defense, though. They're not real slide happy, so he's going to have to make some one-on-one saves. He's done a pretty good job today.
Oh, hot potato.
And Piambo.
That's guaranteed.
Another ground ball. I mean, he's definitely in double digits at this point. Picked up over 180 during the season.
I hope that's not the old high school ground ball where you drop it, pick it up, drop it.
I mean, I had my
mom's working the scoreboard.
I had my reservations until I saw him here live firsthand, and he's picked up probably a dozen already today.
Catch in front, roll back, shot, deflected by the defenseman. Big ground ball from McCormick. It seems like it's not just Piambo and Condon on offense. All the defensemen have had an opportunity to play a little offense, but they throw it away. St. John's looks to capitalize on the mistake, and they will clear.
The strength of the Aggies team is certainly, up the middle, face-off, long sticks, goalie. Their attackmen are struggling with the length and pressure of the Johnny's defense.
You hear St. John's call the yellow call, traditional yellow call to slow the ball down. Saw a team this year use yellow as a speed-up call, kind of a little trickery.
We actually use green as our slow it down.
We use baseball.
I like it. There you go. Yeah, it's about as slow as it gets. Great pastime. An adjacent slide.
Shot goal, left-handed goal in the top corner.
That was just basic lacrosse, right? Dodge hard, draw the one in front of you, throw it forward, and the guy followed his slide nicely and buried.
Connor Mullen finishes the goal to put the Johnnies up 124-2. Oh, wait, that's not correct. 12-2. Please don't mind the graphic here. We'll get that fixed. There we go. 12-2. St. John's over UC Davis. 12:40 remaining here in the third quarter. Now, is this tournament back here again next year? Or is it a multi-year deal, or are we moving on? I think we're back again next year. We'll get clarification on that.
It's a great venue. I mean, obviously there are going to be things to iron out after this year. They're going to learn and improve, but beautiful venue, great backdrop, and if the weather's like this every day, then I don't think anybody's going to complain.
Nelson a bit out of the cage. UC Davis having a tough time just getting those easy ground balls, as you see that right there. As a coach, we focus a lot on those first-time GBs.
It's huge. It really is. You know, they are possessions, essentially, and every time you get an extra possession, you have the ball the other team doesn't, they can't score.
Condon with the GB over to Baker. They work it all the way around through Lee. Open set here, no one on the crease. Also, you know, you feel like anytime anyone goes open, you're instantly into an adjacent, right? I've seen some teams where they slide from the furthest man away from the ball in a scenario like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, bring one in from the backside, establish a hot guy, split two off ball. When I coached at Princeton, they were known for their open set offense. Nice save by Nelson.
Was that a little bit of pairs offense as well?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we, you know, in practice every day, we got a lot of work against it. And we found that bringing a guy in from the backside was our most effective strategy as opposed to going adjacent.
Adjacent's a bit unnatural, and it's easy to just waterfall people to death.
That's exactly right. Just a series of one-mores. Just throw the ball in front of you, and eventually, you know, the rotation's too slow.
Inadvertent whistle here from the officials.
Like to see the Johnnies take the air out of it a little bit here. I think Davis is now getting into his zone. We're going to see a little bit of a zone look. Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
they did.
4, 5,
yep.
6.
Well, we're going to see our first look at zone defense from the Aggies. This is tricky. I think you could definitely slow the Johnnies down offensively, but given the deficit, it's going to be a fine line how long they can play the zone.
Be the first to admit that I don't employ a zone very often. I probably need it in my arsenal. A lot of different schools of thought on how to run and execute a zone. Great interception.
There you go.
Lombardo with the interception, but loses it. Davis having a tough time just getting those first-time ground balls.
And
there's Piamo.
I mean, we definitely need to check the stats. This might be some sort of record. And that's a positive. I mean, if you're the Davis Aggies and you look to find positives from this experience, obviously a successful season, trip to the Nationals, and then, you know, a guy like Piambo, as young as he is, having such a great day today.
Thankfully, if we have our stat guru right next to us, we'll have him let us know how many GBs 2 has. He's probably got a few.
Yeah, the Davis attack is just really, they're having a hard time dealing with the length and aggression of the Johnny's defense. Well, last time down, the Davis zone did create a turnover. We'll see if they go back to it.
Oh, there he is. That's a ground ball. Let's see if he gets another one. Oh, man. We're running out of pencil lead over here. Richardson brings it into the box, lines up, shot right to the goalie's stick. Lee with the ground ball, one more. A little bit of topside dodge here. Gets in front. Here comes a collapse. Player down, no call.
I think what we're seeing here from Davis is a little bit of hero ball now.
Yeah. If we are not going to get it done, I'm going to try to get it done. Lee with the slippery stick, loses the ball. Tommy's straight out of the line. They go out of bounds. Lee operates from X. Gets around his man, is easily stripped. And the Johnnies go the other direction. Moonin with the ball. Attack being asked to help.
They're running Tommy Krause in through the midfield now. We're going to see that same zone employed by the Davis Aggies.
I'm a big fan of St. John's football style uniforms. No name across the top, just the numbers.
I like them. I like them. Pretty sharp. Kraus catches, steps down.
Bit high over the cage for Kraus.
Johnnies get to work on their zone offense. Good action inside. Kraus shopping a little bit.
Here's the question now. If you're in a zone, can you get a stall call or a timer on?
That is a great question. I have a hard time with it. As a coach, there's a great look. I don't think that the stall should be employed, but I've seen it.
We're not stalling. We're just trying to find the best shot for the situation.
Right.
Turnover from the Johnnies.
And the zone's been effective. You know, the zone has absolutely been effective. I just wonder if it's a little too late in the game at this stage. They got to get something going offensively. I think they need to initiate more through the midfield. You know, the attack hasn't had a lot of success. You can't do that.
And nothing was called. He just defended him without a stick in his hands. Interesting. A little bit of basketball defense there.
Lee, he's feeling it. That's probably not the guy to dodge. He has had an outstanding game defensively. He's a big body, and he's angry. Comstock, not the guy to dodge.
Although, learn the hard way in box lacrosse, you can play without your stick. You can box out, and you can kick the ball.
Okay. Opportunity to double there from Johnny's. Kraus, not normally known as a defensive guy, but he's running through the midfield now. He picks one up and goes directly to the rack.
Kraus showing some speed. Shot over the top of the cage, backed up by Antonio.
That was an impressive play athletically. I think Kraus really showed that he has some wheels.
Turn the jets on.
Absolutely. Big, strong kid. And Antonio, you know, despite the scores, had a pretty solid day in the net for the Ags. They got a foos. There they go. The Johnnies are in position. A little pressure from the attack.
Attempted rusty gate check there from St. John's.
The Johnnies' close defenders absolutely know they have athletic superiority at this point.
And with a 12-2 lead, you could take some more risks.
Yeah, why not, you know?
.5:23 remaining in the third. 2018 MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour. First round matchup here in the D2 bracket. UC Davis, the 13 seed out of California. St. John's, the 4 seed out of Minnesota. Nice roll shot. Big save. Nelson with the shoulder save. And guess who gets a ground ball? Turnover, Davis. Transition opportunity for St. John's. This defenseman has some goal eyes, but he passes it off to his attack and retreats back to his defensive end.
Johnny's going to do probably the smart move and slow it down here, work through their offense, understanding that they have a pretty significant lead at this point.
It's definitely a challenge coaching in this tournament, considering the fact of how many games you may end up playing in a certain amount of, short amount of time. And, some of these teams that are newcomers, open goal. Antonio with the check, loses his stick. Great job.
Ah, he's in the net with no stick.
I've never seen that before. What's the call on that one? And why is there a giant black smoke cloud up in the distance?
I'm a little nervous there.
Does that fire have anything to do with him dropping his stick?
Is that a volcano? Number 3, Richardson for Davis seems a lot more comfortable in the zone, and he's been able to get a stick on a couple passes and pick a couple off. I think it plays to his strength. Very nice look there. I've been impressed with Connor Mullen's vision all day. He does a really nice job seeing the field, dodging with his head up. Found an open man inside there.
Connor Mullen with the 13th St. John's goal. 3:33 Make-A-Wish left in the third. We're living on threes here. 2018 MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour.
Starting to see a little fresh faces in here for St. John's.
Sure.
We got a ground ball count on Piombo.
We got a ground ball count on Piombo here.
2.
2 for UC Davis.
4, 5, 6, 7.
7 official ground balls.
It's a big day.
Yeah, that's a judgment call. So you're the master of the ground balls here. Is every interception a ground ball, or does that have to be contested too? Face-off still alive on the far side. Whistle blown. We're going to go with UC Davis.
Yeah, see the white attack released from the box prior to possession, so that's an easy call for the officials. Davis looking to generate a little early offense here. Nothing going.
Shot deflected. Costa with the shot deflected by St. John's. Here comes a big outside crank from the defenseman. Condon easily saved.
Yeah, Nelson is he's seeing the ball well. He's confident right now. He saw a couple shots early, and that built his confidence. And gonna have to challenge him a little bit more.
Great stick handling by Nelson gives the opportunity back to St. John's for a man-up goal, or excuse me, a transition shot, which is wide of the cage. They back it up, so they will have possession once again.
Krause can pull it. He's got a little velocity on his shot. If he dials that in, I mean, he could have a big tournament.
Sure.
Davis has found some success with his zone. They're going to continue with it, and I think it's a good idea by them. Honestly, it's changed the pace of the game and really kept the Johnnies off the scoreboard here in the second half.
Catch a front shot goal. St. John's on the board once again with their 14th. Number 20, Boone Almquist with another goal.
Yeah, really unselfish play by Carter Scrimshaw. You know, he wound up, drew a lot of attention, dumped it inside to Almquist. He really did a nice job setting that up for his teammate.
Just above 2 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Matchups going on around the field. Number 1, St. Thomas from Minnesota taking on 16 Missouri State of the LSA. Number 2, North Dakota State behind us, taking on the number 15 seed Central Connecticut State. And then we have Minnesota Duluth, also from the UMLC, taking on number 14 College of Idaho. Those are your first round matchups. We'll try to get you some score updates here in a second if we can.
These face-off possessions, in addition to the zone defense employed by the Ags. Ooh, big save by Antonio.
Antonio with the save. We have a few score updates here. St. Thomas was up 10-0 over Missouri State. Minnesota Duluth up 15-3 against College of Idaho. So it looks like the higher seeds are dominating their games. Nelson with a big save. Very comfortable in the cage.
Absolutely. And the Aggies are just rushing their shots, and I understand that being down 12, but they can work to get better opportunities.
You know, as Michael Scott says, you miss 99% of the shots, or 100% of the shots you don't take. or was that Wayne Gretzky?
I'm going to go with Michael Scott. He's a more prolific scorer.
Davis in transition. Got to find that balance because obviously we need to attack the cage. We have a timeout to UC Davis. Got to attack the cage, but got to attack it with good opportunities.
No doubt. And they need to initiate from up top. You know, they really need to initiate from up top and see if they can draw some slides. And it's just been a challenge.
So we're going to take a break here. 42 seconds left. First round of the 2018 MCLA National Tournament, powered by Under Armour. We'll be right back.
Escalated it and continued it off the field. Even though it was going to be reported, even though action was going to be taken, he still, you know.
Yeah. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Hey, he seemed pretty philosophical about it last night.
Yeah.
Just, you know, hey, it is what it is. Live and learn. See, we have here 49 seconds left.
What are they going to draw up? The Mumbo early worked for him. Go back to the Mumbo, you know? Okay, go back to it. Got an open hands, free shot.
Coming out of the timeout, 49 seconds remaining in the third. Let's see how designed this play is.
I'd love to see the Davis Aggies get one here at the end of the quarter, give them some momentum going into the fourth, and just really give them some confidence.
They get the ball all the way around the outside. Short stick matchup from X. Coach is screaming, here we go. They'll initiate from X, right to left split. Got to draw that slide though. Piambo getting harassed on the perimeter. They're doing a good job here shutting off here, St. John's. A lot of pressure. Let's see if Piambo can take advantage. He does. Shot. Easy save for Nelson. And we finish the third quarter. So after three, St. John's, the number 4 seed out of Minnesota, with a 14-2 lead over UC Davis. The 13 seed out of California here at the first round of the 2018 MCLA National Tournament, powered by Under Armour. We'll take another quick break, and we'll be back with fourth quarter action here from Salt Lake City, Utah.
My name is Pat Young. I started my college career at University of Maryland, Baltimore County and finished up at University of Maryland College Park. I currently play for the Ohio Machine. This is the Under Armour Banshee. It's the mid-level lacrosse cleat. What I like about it is it's got a low cleat feel, but with the protection of a mid to high cleat. I'm usually a guy who likes to protect my ankles, but I don't like to lose the mobility and feel like I'm wearing a heavy cleat. UA Banshee, untouchable, unstoppable.
Question for you, does St. John's have a club and
St. John's Division I team is not that strong.
Oh,
It's in the Queens in Europe.
but they're red too?
Yeah.
Okay.
get that trainer? Is there possible to get trainer?
Sure, yeah. Can we radio it?
Yeah. St. John's needs a trainer, please, on field 6.
I learned a long time ago, Doug. They're athletic trainers. They get super pissed if you call them trainers.
We need to start hitting up the social. Social. You got chocolate on your nose, brother. All right, yeah. It's like pine tar. Yeah, we're here. Awesome.
We're back here from Salt Lake City, Utah. The MCLA National Tournament powered by Under Armour. Fourth quarter action, UC Davis in a bit of a hole here, down 14-2. Winning that first face-off.
And you know what? They're doing a lot of things, and they're doing a lot of things well. It's just, you know, Johnny's are a tough matchup for them.
And sometimes you feel like maybe you're playing for the future. You know, UC Davis can, you know, this is the year. Hey, now we know what this feels like.
Right. Put this experience in the bank, learn from it. Your players will come back hungry, excited for next year.
We can plan for, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, when you start a season, you don't know if you're going to be the winner. You don't know if you're going to be here or not. You don't budget for it. You don't prepare for it. And now that you've been here, you can say, hey, guys, we need a budget for it. We need a budget for the trip. And we need to mentally prepare ourselves for it. Look at that little nugget there from Piombo. Nice ride. I'm not sure you can check the goalie stick when he has the ball under it, but I still truly believe this tournament is so unique and so awesome, and it's very underrated. Not a lot of people know about it, and you know, it really opened my eyes the first time I came here to see 32 teams play on one patch of grass for an entire day from all over our country. Is just,
it's awesome.
It's a lacrosse lover's dream, and it's someone like myself who's been involved with the game for over 25 some odd years. To see the growth is just so much fun.
And it's a battle of attrition.
Yes.
It's a unique tournament in that standpoint. You need a lot of depth. God bless you.
There's definitely a game within the game, and how you make your bench a little bit looser maybe in the beginning, and then as you get through the tournament. But you got to find that balance. You can't just unload your bench and then maybe sacrifice an opportunity to win a game. So goal here from St. John's. 12:50 remaining.
Krause
in the fourth. Krause, like you said.
Yep, he's a first-team all UMLC guy. You know, he's got a great release, and when he puts it on goal, it's tough to stop, and he found the back of the net that time.
Krause, the sophomore from Eagan, Minnesota, very young roster from St. John's.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do they have a senior on the roster? They
have one, two.
And this team is poised for future success. A lot of the contributions are coming from young guys.
3 seniors. Coach Derek Dane's been around the program for a long time. Like I said, they're a perennial.
It's their 13th tournament appearance.
Yeah, they're here almost every year. Ground ball from Trapicchio. Great upfield pass to McCumber. A little bit piece of soccer there. Groans having a little trouble back to McCumber. And then down.
And you wonder, you know, Mike, how much does the grass and playing on grass impact the team? Now, I've watched several UC Davis shots. They've been shooting some overhand bouncers that have kind of died, and Nelson can clean them up pretty easily. Do you think that plays any role in the outcome of the game?
I'm not sure if it literally does or if it mentally does. You know, if that's you're so used to playing on turf that you shoot a certain way, and then when you come out to grass, you start to overthink your shots. When in fact, maybe you just let it fly, and that's and kind of disregard what type of material you're playing on.
What are your thoughts on bounce shots in general? Oh, there's a nice look.
They're great.
You're a big fan?
Oh, yeah. I feel like, and especially the team I coach, I see it a lot. I get frustrated where we want to go stick side high. It feels like the goalie stick turns into a magnet sometimes, and you end up aiming at it kind of subconsciously. changing any levels, shooting low to high, high to low. You know, my favorite one is the sidearm windup to the overhand shot.
Yeah. See a lot of Canadians employ that.
Wow.
That shooting tactic.
When the goalie takes up 97% of a 3x3 cage, it's time to get a little creative with your shots.
Manipulate the goalie's movement.
Exactly.
I'm not in love with bounce shots personally. I feel like it leaves a lot up to chance.
You're kind of closing your eyes and just chucking it at the.
Yeah, I'm a fan of keeping it in the air. I could never do that personally in my game. I did not shoot the ball hard enough, but.
And obviously, there's a little bit of an immaturity level when it comes to shooters who, you know, aim for those top corners because it looks cooler.
Sure.
But it puts the same amount of numbers on the board as you shoot for the bottom corners, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's all worth the same. And I've always taught my players, if you look at a goalie, his chest, his head, and his stick are going to take up more room than his ankles. So there's just more surface area to find. And especially with a good technical overhand shot, it's hard to read where that's going to release from. Tough turnover there for UC Davis. They give the ball right back to St. John's. Kind of a backbreaker there to have such a great possession and have kind of an unforced turnover there. Easy clear here for St. John's right in front of us. Scrimshaw doing a good job moving the ball up to the attackman.
Got a nice little breeze here now.
Sure.
Picking up. It's a warm day.
The weather could not be better, and I'm sure your speakers are picking up a bit of the wind here in our microphones, but it's a beautiful steady breeze here in Salt Lake with some great sun, a little bit of cloud cover. Coming up on 9 minutes remaining here in the fourth, our first of 4 games we'll be broadcasting today.
Johnny's working that 1-4-1 against the Aggie zone.
Up next, we'll be bringing you Grand Valley State, former MCLA D2 champion, the 5 seed this year, against another first-timer from California, Cal State San Marcos. That's games at 1:45 p.m. here. And then in the nightcap a little bit later, we will have the Chapman and Indiana game. That's coming up at 4:30 p.m. And then the Liberty Concordia Irvine game at 7:15 will be our final match of the day. Looking forward to being here with you all day. Feel free to contribute to the broadcast through social media. If we're getting a name wrong or you're seeing something that we're not, we'd always love to hear from you.
Dial it up. Engage us. What's your Twitter handle, Coach Brand?
My Twitter handle is @MikeJBrand. And yours, Coach?
@DSheridan8.
Sure.
Looks like we're getting a little sloppy play from the Johnnies, which is uncharacteristic. They've been pretty clean, most of the game here. An over and back call. See if the Aggies look to push transition, try to generate something. Mishandled ball in the midfield. It's where we look to not make east-west passes in transition. You always want to throw the ball ahead.
That's a great tip. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's north-south, so you're either going to spill the ball back, you like that terminology,
yeah.
Or throw the ball forward and headman it. East-west generally looks like what we just saw, a turnover.
A lot of room for error in those east-west passes.
No question.
Great ground ball there from, actually that's probably not a ground ball in the definition of it, but just a great job corralling the ball there from St. John's. "32 teams here from all over the country on 4 fields. Great shot, great move, beautiful.
Yeah, Scrimshaw, good shake, got to his strength, his right hand, and just stepped down right into it and hammered it offside hip front. Antonio, tough save.
Put him on skates, took him in, took him out.
This is a move that's been more and more common. I'm not sure how you think about it. The guys exchanging sticks to face off. To me, if you can't play with the stick, then I don't think you should be using it.
I know we did call the Chapman game last year where their face-off guy also played offense, so when they would...
It's a unique stance by the face-off guy. I haven't seen this one.
Ooh, big step with his right foot, too. And unfortunately, he does not come away with it.
We got a fast break opportunity for Uloa. Just put it on Gage.
That goes back to your, if you're able to catch, throw, and shoot.
And
with
I
your
get it.
stick.
These face-off sticks get mangled throughout the course of a game, but it's important that they can connect the dots and be lacrosse players as well.
Interesting to hear the interview that Paul Carcaterra had with Andy Shea, and he asked him what he would change about lacrosse, and he very bluntly said, I would do away with the face-offs.
Yeah, I think that there's a school of thought there that a lot of people are starting to buy into, especially as you looked at advance the game from a popularity standpoint. The face-offs take a lot of time, and when we're talking about television and being viewer-friendly.
And there was a 45-second face-off
it doesn't make a lot of sense to people that are new to the sport. But, you know, the traditionalists, there's something about the face-off that's unique to our game that they don't want to get rid of, so I can see both sides of the argument.
You know, as most people don't know, the game of basketball is derived directly from the game of lacrosse. Lacrosse is
Mr.
actually
Naismith, right?
Dr. Naismith adopted some of the rules from basketball. Another doctor, George Beers from Montreal. But what I'm trying to get at here is when basketball started, there was a tip-off after every basket. So they did away with that very quickly and had the other team just inbound the ball. So whether after a goal, maybe you take it outside the box and you just get right into your clear. But I do agree with Coach Shea on that. I'm not a huge fan of the face-offs. I feel like sometimes your whole team can rely on almost a non-lacrosse player, but it's also a unique aspect of lacrosse that if you can have a guy who's super skilled, it can give you a better shot. So I'm right in the middle, to be perfectly honest with you. I understand that it would speed up the game by getting rid of them, but it's kind of like an old tradition of lacrosse, you know?
It definitely is a unique thing to our sport, and there's probably some modifications you can make and keep it in that would make it a nice feed inside. That would make it work for everybody. But it's been tinkered with many, many times, and I'm not sure anybody's ever found the right formula.
Right.
You know, the other advancement that we're talking about that mirrors inside look, unfortunately, the Aggies started to think upfield a little bit more and left the crease open. You know, the shot clock is the other piece, right? So the face-offs and the shot clock, both things that our sport is starting to trend toward to emulate basketball.
But let's be honest, this MCLA tournament is a perfect example of some of these guys have to fundraise for their helmets. How are they going to get a physical shot clock and then have someone to operate it as well, you know?
You have to pay an additional person to operate it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unintended consequences that go along with some of these changes that, quite frankly, I don't think are very well thought through. It's just kind of spur of the moment.
And then there's obviously some human error with that shot clock because someone's running it.
One of the ideas that was brought up at our coaches' convention this year was not a shot clock, but a score clock. So it didn't matter if you put a shot on cage or not. You have 90 seconds from possession, and then the other team gets the ball.
Sure.
That was an interesting thought process.
Now, is that going to be kept? Would that be kept in the pocket of the ref, or would that be a physical clock as well?
A physical clock, but you never get a reset.
Right. Okay. There's no opportunity to reset that clock. That's interesting.
There was a large faction of coaches that were in support. Coming up about 4 minutes remaining in the game. St. John's up 17-2. Largely, having success on both ends of the field, but primarily with their close defense, just a dominant group. Great goaltending by Nelson. What an experience for both teams, though. Honestly, I know St.
Sure.
John's is going to move on, and they have bigger fish to fry in hopes of a championship. But what an experience for the Davis kids to do such a great job throughout the regular season and then get an opportunity to play here in the national tournament for the first time in program history. I mean, just establishing a precedent for their program for years moving forward.
I think another big aspect of this tournament that a lot of people don't think about is today's May 7th. We're right in the middle of, finals time for some of these kids.
Yeah.
And they got to balance some of the most important lacrosse games of their life and some of the most important, exams of their life. So it's a mentally challenging trip and experience. And I know sometimes guys are getting their exams proctored out here.
Yeah, I mean, in
Sometimes
the hotel. Last night we saw some kids taking exams. I mean, these guys are student athletes, and it's impressive what they're doing out here, competing, traveling all over the country, and then certainly here at the end of the year trying to culminate everything, their academic career and often, big-time goal. I love it. Bounced one 5-hole, number 25, Nathaniel Williams. Getting his first action here late in the game, and he scores a big goal for the Aggies.
Sometimes there's teams or groups of players who can't make it because their professors won't allow them to miss some final exams. So a lot of stuff going on here this week in Salt Lake.
And every MCLA program has a different relationship with their university.
Sure.
So some may have
or none at all
a liaison with the academics, and some may not have zero support, no interface.
Some are fully funded, some are, not funded at all. So it's
another added element of kind of intrigue to this thing, the diversity of each program, not only geographically but the way they're structured.
Great face dodge, another shot. Nelson with the stick save. Seems like he's had about 6 or 7 of those.
Yeah.
Where he didn't really have to do much. I always, when my shooters do that, I always say, the goalie's already warmed up. We don't need to warm him up anymore.
We played Robert Morris this year, and their goalie is just absolutely incredible. And I feel that's exactly how the game went for us. Lots of balls right to his stick.
Under 2 minutes here in our first of 4 matchups on the day here. I want to thank you guys for joining us online. St. John's will move on as UC Davis still pushing here. Backhand shot from UC Davis, the last goal scorer there. Williams with the backhand, a little bit wide. Hudak clears easily. Minute 30 left. Trying to put the baby to sleep here, get the ball around the outside. No need to really attack the cage here, just get the air out of the ball. Hudak shoots, scores, no slide coming.
Yeah, I think everybody was a little bit lulled to sleep with the way they were spinning it, maybe thinking they were trying to milk the clock, and Hudak saw an advantage and some space, and he attacked it. Big body.
A lot of coaches wouldn't appreciate a goal in that scenario. I myself, a little bit more realistic. I can only control my team. I can't control the way another coach coaches their team. And also, when you're a 18 or 22-year-old, you see an open lane there. It's hard to pull back and move the ball around the outside. But that comes with age and maturity, and when you got a spot to shoot on the net, you take it. Piamba with another ground ball. Could very well be his last of the year. He's got great moves too. As I say that, he's stripped, but throwing some chops here. This is where You want to make sure your players just stay healthy in this situation.
Less than 20 seconds here. I'd hope they take the ball to X and sit on it.
Looks like we see some new attackmen out on the field for St. John's as Jensen runs through X. And that'll do it for our first Division II matchup of the day. The Johnnies of St. John's, the 4 seed, with a commanding 18-3 win over UC Davis. Take a quick break. We'll be back with the next game. We're going to head over to the tent and get some post-game interviews. I want to thank you for joining us. My name is Michael Brand. With me, as always, is Dylan Sheridan. 18-3, the Johnnies with a convincing win over UC Davis here at the 2018 MCLA National Tournament, powered by Under Armour.
Colorado.
All right. Should I ask her?